Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of StarSound Speaks. This is your host, Irlianna Samsara of StarSound Astrology. So this is episode 175, and I'm bringing you the weekly Astro for the week of Sunday, July 3rd through Saturday, July 9th. So for those of you who are new to the channel, hello, my name's Irlianna, and I practice Hellenistic or ancient astrology with combined with modern, and really great to have you all here. Please don't forget, if you like any of this content, to comment. We always love hearing from you. Like, share, subscribe, and the little button below really helps the channel. So thank you so much all for your support. All right, so this week, a couple of three things to talk about, and in the next, I'm going to get deeper into the entire month of July in the next video. But so for this week, Sunday, July 3rd, you know, this July 4th weekend in the United States, heading into it obviously was a very intense, one of the most pressure cooker transits of the year, Mars squaring Pluto. So Mars, the god of war and aggression and violence, in a square with Pluto, which is about hell, death, birth, rebirth, transformation. Collectively, what we've been seeing is where the individual will, as it relates to reinventing society from its and reprogramming ourselves, whether it's in the collective, with government and society, in our culture, and also on the micro level within ourselves and our own families, our very structures of reality, and the dynamic interplay and the birth of a toxic-free society. And in order to transform and do that, looking at those deep subconscious patterns of fear and repression, and you know, very toxic patriarchy, right, that had been holding us back for millennia. And so this is the final, this just coming out of it this weekend is the final square of Pluto in its of Mars in its domicile squaring Pluto in Capricorn. The next time it will do that is when Pluto will be in Aquarius, which is, you know, it's about an 18-year transit when Pluto goes through a sign. So this is the last of what was happened over 10 years. Pluto squaring, whether in domicile in Mars or in exile in Libra. It was making those squares, Mars, I'm sorry, saying domicile, exile, squaring Pluto. And of course, what we saw in the collective was, you know, the Arab Spring and Occupy Wall Street. And, you know, through the years, all of these movements about breaking down what has been very toxic in our culture and what needs to go, what toxic structures and that have long since expired, and then how do we fashion for ourselves a society that's based upon, you know, a resilient, sustainable model, reprogramming it. It's a very long process, right? It doesn't happen overnight, but this is the final square of Pluto making a square in domicile to Mars. I mean, sorry, Mars. Can I get this right? Mars making that final square to Pluto in Capricorn, the final square in domicile. So this is when Mars is the strongest. So the last time Mars was in Aries squaring Pluto was 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago. It was the Capitol riots, same degree. And so interesting, because here we have all the hearings and such investigations about that. And then we are all seeing the fallout of the Roe Wade and women losing a constitutional right. No small feat. Even though we saw it coming, we got the leaked memo and all. Several months ago, someone leaked that Supreme Court draft, and yet it still hurts. And it's I'm going to speak about this more at length in the next video, but just to say that there have been some very raw, you know, there's these wounds and secrets and things and suppression that is being brought to the surface, and it's not an easy process. Mars in that square can often be a violent confrontation, sadly. where we need to, and what we are just now coming out of is saying, okay, let's take a new direction. That's obviously not about violence, but it's about standing up for ourselves in a way which we, not based on the old Yang paradigm, and it's a very, very deep, profound subject. I've covered it through the years, and I'll certainly continue to. The US, the exact degree right now of Pluto retrograde, we're right back at 27 degrees Capricorn, which is the exact degree, happy 4th of July, right? That the USA was at in 248 years ago, right? So roughly, which is a Pluto return. So so here, the day they signed the Declaration of Independence, we're at the same exact place. So obviously we are, again, that's that British Crown toxic structure, right? That was no longer useful to us, being upended. And the new era ushering in a new, or at least the attempt to, because obviously that was flawed because there was still slavery. There, from what I read, the founding fathers were, many of them fought and fought and fought, like, we can't have a new, hey guys, can't have a Declaration of Independence if you're keeping slaves, memo, right? And some of them fought, and others, and they ended up not getting their way for that. So, but it was attempted. And again, some people seeing that, no, this is not a healthy society. If you're, it's a hypocritical when you're talking about land of the free and home of the brave, but oh, by the way, I have these slaves, it's like, okay, but you see, it was baked in from the very beginning. And so these flaws are and wound and pain body is now being healed, and not just in the United States, of course. This is, of course, all over the planet, and this is an evolutionary checkpoint. And so anyway, this weekend, we're now coming out of that. We're feeling the effects of that, and hopefully we have used, and we can still use this well to subjugate the ego and to say, what is best for our families, and what is best, how can we be compassionate and stand for each other's light, rather than feeling competitive and argumentative and reactive, right? Those would be like negative Mars traits. So it's obviously has brought up a lot, whether it's internally or, in the external, but there's always this, and what it's calling us to do is to have this fundamental renewal of a way of being that will be our new earth, our new earth is being birthed right now. So, by the way, I pulled out my very beat up copy of my Eckhart Tolle New Earth. So if you remember about 10 years ago, he was on Oprah for an entire week with this book, and it's an incredible book. And as you can see, I got a lot out of it because it's pretty beaten up. So I'm going to be referring to this in the next into the next episode. But anyway, so Mars coming out of that square of Pluto. The last time Mars was in this cycle, Mars was conjunct Pluto in March 3rd. So whatever happened to us around those early few days of March, now the conjunction right now moving into that square. I have to always put my hands backwards because the camera is the other way. Is like, where the seed, for transformation being planted, and then of course now coming fully embodying that that kind of fundamental transformation. So whatever happened back in March, you might look back and see, oh wow, here it is again, but we're now at a different place where it's a turning point of where we are at in terms of looking at that shadow and blazing a new path. All right, so that's Mars at the square of Pluto, and then both Mars and Mercury within, like, I don't know, 20 minutes of each other. They're going to be going. They're on depending on your time zone, it'll be late Monday night, July 4th, or very early hours Eastern time in Tuesday, July 5th. But Mars and Mercury are both going to be leaving their signs, their domiciles, right? Where Mars was very strong in the sign of Aries, he's going to be going into his exile, domicile to exile, right, into Taurus. And Mars is about a 6-week transit. And so from July 5th to August 20th, Mars will be in the sign of Taurus, which is a goddess, right? He's going to be going from his own domicile to Venus's domicile. So you could imagine it's like going from the locker room to like Martha Stewart's bedroom, you know, and then you try acting like a He-Man in, you know, in a lacy frou-frou bedroom. Well, that's not going to work, right? It's like, you're going to have to play by Venus's rules, right? The goddess. So you're going to have to behave yourself, and you're going to have to calm down and cool your jets. You have no choice in the matter. You're in Venus's house. You play by Venus's rules. Damn it. Right? And that'll be good, because people go, oh, you know, Mars is in exile. It's like, it's not a good place for Mars. And I'm like, no, actually, you know, considering the vast transformation in the divine feminine that's taking place, no, actually, I think it's good. It's really, it's okay. You know, it's a whole nother life for Mars to be fighting for the goddess, right? Standing up for the goddess, grounding ourselves in what is real and nature. You know, and you think about Venus and Taurus, sensuality and nature and connection, you know, an authentic, grounded connection, and wanting to connect rather than wanting to separate and be rebellious, right? So there's a shift here. And if you remember when that happened, the exact minute that when the Capitol riots happened, literally the minute it went, and I said this in the last episode, the minute that Mars went into 0 degrees of Taurus, boom, that's when the melee was over. And Trump said, go home in love and peace. Shocking, right? But that's Venus's domicile, love and peace. So they all filed out of the building. And so, you know, that can sometimes, when Mars, you know, gets upended like that, he could be like, you know, you see like a bratty kid in school and you discipline them, and then he's like, you know, crosses his arms, maybe he feels humiliated or something, or the ego, the male ego, right? Mars and Aries, the male ego gets subjugated. This is a part of ourselves where it's okay to chill. And I would say, you know, have compassion if people are really struggling and being in their like a pissy little mood. And some people have told me how they've had family issues and, you know, family dynamics flaring up and not looking good, but just to really have a lot of compassion and hold space, and maybe just give each other space and chill. And you could invite that person who, whether it's you or somebody else going through a hard time, to like sit in nature, ground, put your feet on the ground, go in a garden. You know, that would be a really good Taurus thing. Take a mud bath, you know, scrub, right? Use your Mars energy, scrub, mud baths, mud facials, good remedies, right? Always look at the astrology if you need those answers. All right, so Mars, again, you know, to August 20th, will be in this sign of Taurus, Venus's temple. And Mercury will also leave its domicile, and that will, he will go into Cancer from July 5th until July 19th. So it's a faster transit. And Cancer is a mute sign. You know, when you think about, it's a water sign. So Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, all water signs, and they're considered mute signs. And why is that? Well, a mute, when you think about the animals' symbols of the zodiac, these symbols, the crab, the scorpion, the fish, these are animals that don't have a voice, right? So they're mute. They don't make a sound. They don't make a sound. And so Mercury going into the sign of Cancer, this is a place where we can mute the yang part of ourselves, right? And maybe chatty. Mercury loves being Gemini, chat, sell, yak, 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 run around, right? But now Mercury in Cancer can be a more, I would say, sedate, calmer, more intuitive, watery feeling, cushy, think fuzzy slippers, attitude of just slowing down and being more Cancerian, more nurturing, maybe more, healing, food oriented. Your words, your attitude, you're speaking and listening. You want to be listening for people's emotions. You want to be able to voice your own emotions, right? And hold space for others. So in this particular sign, it can be a very calming time. And of course, I think considering too with Roe Wade, this is a time where we need to process and no better way to process what's happened than to put down, stop shouting and being visibly upset, take those feelings and speak about them, women's groups, reaching out. If you are, men, women, anyone, we're really in touch with our hearts and our souls, and how we care and nurture one another, feeling a sense of comfort and security with words, writing, speaking, listening, and these reaching across the table to say, hey, how you doing? Calling somebody up, telling somebody, sharing our vulnerable, secret, intimate feelings, those our intuitive selves, our psychic selves. This is going to be very highlighted for the next few weeks. Mute being not on the outside world. The real dialogue is inner, right? So it can't be heard and seen, but the animals like, the Cancer, the crab, that needs to retreat into its shell. So it's very apropos with what has just happened with the Supreme Court, right? It's like, this is a time when we can really spend our energies focusing on nurturing and sharing with one another in a really compassionate way. Maybe it's about, staying home and reading stories to one another, I mean, it can take so many forms, but it is more of a calming, processing thing. And I was thinking too of like, we have the term World Wide Web. Well, what if it was like a women wide web? That's kind of like Mercury and Cancer. Let's get that going, and that'll really be coming to the fore. And the only other thing I want to say about this week is Saturday, July 9th, Mercury will be going under the beams of the sun. It's under the beams. It'll be combust, which means it's very, very close to the sun. So it gets burned up. Next, I'll talk about this in the July at Large podcast, the next episode, but July 16th, we are going to have a magical window, and Mercury is cazimi. It's in the heart of the sun. But in those few days, in that week that it takes to get there, to line up with the sun, it's going through this like flaming, eye of the it's like the storm before you reach the eye of the hurricane. So it's rough because Mercury's losing its identity. So Mercury in the mute sign combust the sun. You may definitely feel like you've lost your voice. Like Mercury is the lungs, and it's also the respiratory system, and and so the ability to breathe and air and to feel nurtured, you maybe to be heard, especially by authority figures, not hearing and not listening, or them not listening. So just know that it's okay. This is part of a process, right? A natural cyclical process that all planets go through all signs, and they're expressing all of these facets of our consciousness. So Mercury in that combust period from now through the 16th, it's like there could be communications going on that we can't see or can't hear because they're secret. If it's like, you think about the sun, the solar figure, or the patriarchal element, or fathers, or those in authority, whoever they may be. It's like there's this there's a blindness there where it can't be heard. It's just the beams of the sun are just burning it up. When it gets into that magical cazimi, this quiet little moment, eye of the storm, but I'll talk about that more in the next episode. But I would say any kind of secret communications that may be going on behind the scenes, and we won't hear about them until later in the month, which is around July 23rd. Mercury will come out of the beams and will be visible again in the sky, right? So it's like it can't be seen, it's too close, and then it starts to show up. So this is, and it'll be in a superior conjunction. So this is definitely about, you know, a really a good time about being our psychic intuitive messages and our intuitive mind, and being oriented toward take our busy minds and just soothe these busy, the frazzled mind that may have been very frazzled over the last few weeks, is to take this and to just let your intuition and your intuitive abilities and even telepathic abilities, to let that shine and let that take center stage, not the yang so much. It's yin, you know, Cancer's a yin sign. So using that muteness, mute is not a, it's not bad. It's not like we're missing something. We're missing something on the outside. But just remember, it's like when you have a water balloon and you press it in, you think you're losing something, but on the other side, the balloon pops out. So you're actually, depending on how you want to look at it, you are gaining. It's just in a different area, different direction. So that's all I really have for today. This is the week, and I hope you have a really great one and a very safe rest of July 4th. Be safe out there. And yeah, we will see you all in the next podcast. All right. Take care, everyone. Very happy, wonderful week, and blessings to all of you. This is Irlianna Samsara, StarSound Speaks, StarSoundastrology.com. Thank you all for listening. Bye for now.